with everybody with that? What's going on with the flat Earth thing? Are you just messing with everybody with that?
When I want you to take me seriously, you will know by the tone of my voice that I'm being serious. When I'm being serious, you'll know. Earth is flat.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
No, it's
yes,
not.
Yes, it is. You will know by the tone of my voice that I'm being serious.
They almost took your PhD in education away. Yeah. Are there other?
So I was just joking, people. The Earth is not round. It's flat. I mean, stuff about gravity. So you mean to tell me that China is under us? China's under us.
They are under us.
That's what they tell you when you're a kid? When I drive from Florida to New York, flat. New York to Seattle,
it's flat. Flat.
Seattle down to LA, flat. LA back to flat.
I'm poison fly massagno nicky mahal siya dito, you know, isn't it?
Everyone is taught these lies when they go to school, but I won't go back to the ball. And anyone who doesn't look scared must love the rulers. I won't go back to the ball. I can't believe I believe that shit. 'Cause when you take a step back and look at it, everything they show you is CGI. Gotta ask yourself why. You can tell me gravity accounts for space and time, but I won't go back to the ball. 'Cause I will trust my senses over Newton and Einstein. I won't go back to the ball. I can't believe we believe that shit. 'Cause when you take a step back and look at it, everything that shows is CGI. Gotta ask yourself why. So what exactly do you think all those theories prove? 'Cause I won't go back to the ball. All it takes is two clear eyes to see the earth don't move. I won't go back to the ball. We can't believe that shit. 'Cause when we take a step back and look at it, everything that shows us is CGI. You really gotta ask yourself why don't they just take a photograph?
We don't have time for a meeting of the flat Earth.
In this system, I felt good in this system. I was lost in this system. I was born in this system. I grew up in this system. I felt good in this system. I was lost. I had a big system. System overdose. System overdose. System overdose. System overdose. System overdose.
This is our infant universe.
In a millionth of 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 a second, it went from a size smaller than an atom to bigger than a galaxy. Whoosh.
Systems planning engineers design both the hardware and the software to make the simulators very realistic. The sense of reality is heightened by simulated spacecraft characteristics, flight dynamics, and visual and sound effects from control panel lights to jet and rocket noises. The Lunar Module Simulator is also an all-digital simulator with 3 computers using coordinates based on math models to simulate the spacecraft and the lunar landing phase of the mission.
And these skill drills are so like the real thing that everyone easily forgets that they aren't.
It was all recorded on these telemetry tapes. So where is this hard evidence?
I haven't seen anything that indicates the telemetry data is even in existence, and as I said, even if we had it, we don't have the machines to play it back.
But your own research has shown the telemetry data is missing.
That's right.
Could this be true? Mankind's first interplanetary exploration and the original science data is missing? If it's anywhere, it should be here at NASA's Goddard Space Center in Maryland.
Doesn't have it either. Smithsonian doesn't have it. Johnson doesn't have it.
Right. We've been unable to track it down. I mean, we don't know
where this telemetry data ended up, and we don't know what path it may have taken. So, unfortunately, I'm afraid I can't really give you much of a clue as to where this data ended up and whether it still exists.
I remember very clearly. I think anybody who was alive at the time does. I remember my parents waking me up, and we went down and we watched you guys land on the moon.
No,
which
you didn't. What? Because there wasn't any television. There wasn't anybody taking a picture. You watched animation. So you associated what you saw with...
I have very hazy memories.
I know. Then I said, contact light, engine stop. And a few other things. And then Neil said, Houston, Tranquility Base, the Eagle has landed. And how about that?
That was very exciting.
Not a bad line. Not a bad line.
Okay, cut. Wow, Neil Armstrong. Hey, wait a minute. You're supposed to be on the moon. I just saw it on TV.
Oh, there's a tape delay, and with all solar winds.
I'm descending a ladder. On the bottom rung of the ladder. Just one more step and I'm... Tranquility? Holy living fuck. Are you fucking believing this? Over.
I can see you're really upset about this. I honestly think you ought to sit down calmly, take a stress pill, and think things over.
Representation of lunar surface. This here is what your moon looks like. Take a picture of me standing on the moon. Oh, that ain't really the moon. We don't have to tell anybody.
Have you ever wondered what the center of the galaxy smells like? The center of our galaxy is a smelly place.
There's a gas cloud at the center of our galaxy called Sagittarius B2 that's made up of a compound called methylformate.
That's Tanya Harrison. She wants you to smell the galaxy. Smell the galaxy.
And then we ended up capturing it in the form of a lip balm so we could actually pass those out.
And they bottle it all up so you can actually buy it. So why even do this? Why should you care what space tastes or smells like? And because space isn't real. Space isn't not a feeling. You can't touch it. You've never been there. You probably never will. It's about making space relatable, making it something you can interact with. So you get as curious about it as Tanya is. She wants you to smell the galaxy.
Here's Johnny.
You didn't get it. It's now been over 50 years since this iconic photo. No single artist has simply had a whole meaning. It's a photo with its iconic legs. It's been shared around the world for millions of years. And it's used as a symbol for environment and to symbolize fragility. I thought it could be fun to look at this. But if you see for the first time one of our brand new monuments, you can think about whether you can help this planet cope.
What a mess, stealing traffic secrets, keep them with the deeds of emperors and Jesuits. Newton had an idea from the orbits in his head. Then there were 1,000 more waiting to be led. The nature's mind was always blind as Jacob started walking. Crazy thoughts of one big bang, the universe exploding.
She wants you to smell the galaxy.
The science tradition is the belief that science already understands the nature of reality in principle, leaving only the details to fill in. And very few people question the underlying doctrines of science.
And there's no experiment you do to tell you what you're Therefore, that concept has no physics plus history because you can't measure it. And that's why Einstein's relativity.
So we've got it here, and it smells delicious. If this is space, then sign me up.
There's Polaris. There's the baseline. That's how you did it. When you say the easiest way to do this, do you mean the easiest way to employ your religious zealotry of being on a board?
Far than we are, there's just no way to shake it. Still so much to unlearn, so much more out there is waiting. The secrets of this life and just where we're headed.
It seems unreal. It seems impossible. The technology now is amazing. The picture's got you look like you're in a studio, maybe in Omaha, Nebraska or something. The shot is so clear. What the hell are you doing?
Smells like raspberries and blues. This cloud, that's the center of our galaxy. The smell lab isn't going to stop at space either. We're going to smell Mars, the moon, asteroids, all the places humans want to go eventually. Places you may go to with us.
NASA has gone to great lengths to develop that ignorance level. You see that for yourself. The reason is the moon program was fake news, just like Star Trek. I'm not an authority on this, but I see no evidence for it. And your friends who believe in NASA, you can outwit them. You will be ahead of them because you will not waste energy running away.
We leave you much that is undone and remove one of truth's protective layers.
And now some of us laugh at outer space.
I don't want to dispute the research, but I feel like that does not smell like space.
Well, I don't know. You've never been to space.
This is true. She said it's interplanetary. It's
raspberry rum.
But I think the goal is, a lot of people want to live in outer space.
The sky. You ever see that? You ever see the writing in the sky? Huh?
Yep.
This is an indirect image. This is a non-direct image. This isn't a direct image. This is a direct image. This is a direct image. But that's okay.
And it is this giant puffy planet.
And you get a bunch of what looks like bumps to some people, but it's actually the wiggles. Yay! So you're actually seeing the presence of the wiggles in the atmosphere of this exoplanet.
Yay! All the way in Australia.
We have not had access to wiggles content before. So we're going to have exciting data from what I just referred to as the wiggles. Just once, but that's okay.
Were you listening to me, Neil? Or were you looking at the woman in the red dress? I was, again.
A few years ago, before the pandemic, getting really fascinated by flat earthers and trying to understand sort of the thinking behind them of people who decided actively to create an identity for themselves that was to just clearly reject what science settled thousands of years ago with the ancient Greeks, and that there's no real contrast to it. It's more of an identity thing rather than a reasoning thing. And to have people sucked into that, it was fascinating to try and see what it was all about. And of course, we went on to understand the phenomenon of anti-vaxxers and anti-science and anti-skeptics, and this rise in these echo chambers that are validating this kind of thinking in ways that have real consequences.
Ends at the water's edge. Well, thank God they weren't around back in 1492. Imagine the hard time they've given Christopher Columbus. Voices on the right and left are working right now to breathe life into those old flat earth theories of protectionism, of isolationism. But there is no going back. Our new world is far smaller, communications far more instant, our horizons stretch much farther with each generation. This is 1991, not 1791. Horse and buggy attitude won't carry us into the next century. And we will knock down barriers wherever we find them, to open markets, for instance, for our computer software, movies, books, and pharmaceuticals. We will fight hard against protectionism, both at home and abroad. And 5 centuries ago, a man of courage and vision set sail from Europe, searching for new trade routes and opportunities. And he defied the timid counsel of those who said the earth was flat. Christopher Columbus's voyage to the Americas transformed human history. Columbus was an entrepreneur, and the risk he took 500 years ago continues to pay off abundantly today. And today we still have to combat the flat earth mentality, the mindset that urges us to barricade our borders against competition, to shut off the free exchange of food and machinery and skills and ideas.
I want to be clear. I am willing to work with anybody. Republicans, Democrats, Independents, Libertarians, Greens, anybody to combat this threat on behalf of our kids. I'm open to all sorts of new ideas, maybe better ideas, to make sure that we deal with climate change in a way that promotes jobs and growth. Nobody has a monopoly on what is a very hard problem, but I don't have much patience for anyone who denies that this challenge is real. We don't have time for a meeting of the Flat Earth Society.
If I say that the world is round and someone else says it's flat, that's worth reporting. But you might also want to report on a bunch of scientific evidence that seems to support the notion that the world is round. We're trying to move towards the future. They want to be stuck in the past. And we've heard this kind of thinking before. Let me tell you something. If some of these folks were around when Columbus set sail, they must have been founding members of the Flat Earth Society. They would not have believed that the world was round.
I got fascinated with the idea of flat earthers. Now, this is an entirely new phenomenon. There wasn't really any moment back in recorded history, not the ancient Greeks or the ancient Babylonians or the Incas or whoever else, who actually wondered whether the earth was actually flat or not. And Christopher Columbus, they knew the earth was round. There was no danger he was going to fall off the edge of the world. That wasn't what people worried about when he was setting off to discover the Americas or discover a shortcut to India. But recently, over the past few years, a whole bunch of people have decided that the world is flat. Now, everything we know about science, from the people we've sent to the moon, to the photos we've taken from space, to how we explain day versus night and seasons, we know that the earth is round. But there are a whole bunch of people out there who have decided that the earth is flat.
The idea that the earth is a flat disk or plane first comes from most ancient civilizations, including Egypt and Greece. Most of the ancient cultures believed that the earth was flat. The same ancient cultures that built the pyramids and seem to have more knowledge about our world and universe than we do today.
They believe rising sea levels don't matter because in their view the extra water is just going to spill out over the sides of the flats of the flat earth, of the flat earth, of the flat earth, of the flat earth. You don't need to be a scientist. You don't need to be a scientist. You don't need to be a scientist to know that the earth is round, to know that the earth is round, to know that the earth is round, that the sun rises in the east and sets in the west, and that gravity is the reason that objects fall to the ground. You could pick 100 different examples of simple things that happen every day that reflect science. And we need to make clear that those members of the Flat Earth Society, are on the wrong side of history, are on the wrong side of history.
They must have been founding members of the Flat Earth Society. Flat Earth Society. Flat Earth Society. Flat Earth Society. They would not have believed that the world was round. We don't have time for a meeting of the Flat Earth Society. Flat Earth Society. Flat Earth Society. Flat Earth Society.
My friends, these people are so out of touch with science. You don't need to be a scientist to know that the earth is round.
Where is the curvature? Where? No curvature.
this UN House of Darkness is home court. They know that in this swamp of anti-Semitic bile, there's an automatic majority willing to demonize the Jewish state on anything. In this anti-Israel flat earth society, any false charge, any outlandish allegation can muster a majority. In this anti-Israel flat earth society,
Now that the men are going to walk on the moon tonight, so better not sign up to be anywhere, right? Apart from the television set.
Can you just tell us what it was like to walk on the moon?
It was, of course, the most exciting flight I'd ever had. It was, of course, the most exciting flight I'd ever had.
Right away, Houston. Put a ride.
Your happy place. It will keep your groove. Dancing on the moon, dancing on the moon. All our trouble seems to fade away. This is how I feel. You take me to some levels that I've never been. When we dance again, all our trouble seems to fade away. This is how I feel. When you take me to some places that I've never been. I've never been. I've never been.
Toward a distant lunar sea.
Walking on the moon.
In the command module, Young turned the switch off, then on again.
Not a bad line.
Philosophical moment of achievement. It was also a technical challenge, as we found that the flag didn't exactly perform as we put it together, and it didn't stick in the ground exactly the way we thought it would. There was no breeze to wave it, so we had to maybe artificially create a little breeze.
Oh, now surely this is the right spot. Look at this. This area is filled with books about pretend people.
That's right, Grover. This is the fiction section. Fiction means it's a made-up story. Fiction means it's a made-up story. Fiction means it's a made-up story. Fiction means it's a made-up story.
Zero in. Lift off.
I like to tell people, because it's true, that there is a secret to being an astronaut. And the secret is that nobody just gets to be an astronaut.
Whenever I show film from my 6-month expedition on the space station, I have to qualify some of the scenes, and I'll say things like I have one of the space station like this, where the Earth is moving below it, the station, the shuttle took it, and I'll say, I know this looks like animation, but it's actually really real. So there's the space station. I love that this is not animation. This is film taken by a shuttle of the space station. And so this is real. It's not animation. And I love this video because it looks like animation, like something that somebody made, but it's actually real footage. And it came up in the payload bay of the shuttle, and that's the document you see right there. That video, again, doesn't really look real. And this is our space station. This is a movie. This is not a drawing or a cartoon. It's really a movie. A comet that Dan Burbank happened to catch, looking out the window, saw this thing, and yet that would be a great thing. And we're going to do this. It takes a little more time than we would like, but Nikolai is the right age. Okay, the right. You are probably going to be too old, and so am I, to be the ones who are going, to leave even low Earth orbit right around our planet, to go to other planets like Mars. You are the right age, to leave even low Earth orbit. The space station itself is, I like to see pictures of it. It looks to me like it's an animation, like this was a cartoon, but that's a real place.
We just have to be repetitive about this. It's not enough to simply have a catchy ad on a Monday and then only do it every Monday. We need to do this every day of the week and just really brainwash people.
Oh.
I'm a burning ball of fire. I'm very big indeed. Life on earth depends on me.
Okay.
No one thought this could be done.
That's Gavin Newsom, signing the strongest rent control law.
I wish I'd lost a little weight for this, but maybe it's good.
You know what? I pressed that button at the wrong time.